Hello, BookTube. Shelf 6 of poetry. Once we're done this, we've got 3 more to go here. The bottom one is biography, poetry biography. So there's 2 more of poetry itself, and then there's biography, and then we'll move on into the other section there. I'll definitely get those other 3 done tomorrow, and then from then on, I'll be doing until we get the whole wall here done. I'll be doing that from my normal location because I'll bring them out. But here's I do like these India paper editions by Oxford. This is the complete poetical works of James Thomson, and 1908, edited with notes by J. Logie Robertson, M.A. And Thompson's Seasons. It's a bit of a chore, but it's quite interesting. It was something that spurred John Clare on, so that's why it's a big interest for me. I've got several copies of it, actually. I've got one from, I think, 1820 something, or early 1800s, which I will show eventually. I plan to just go through all poetry that I have, but I'm going to put this with, because it's the India paper one again. It's short, but it's 500 and some pages long, and I'm going to put that with, I got 2 other India paper ones. Dorset Village, Clive Sanson. This is quite interesting. It's very sort of localized poetry for Dorset. Just sort of, sorry, I thought I flipped by something that said Clare Cottage, or wait a minute, where is that? Clare Cottage, but that's not. No, yeah, because I would have remembered if that had to do with Clare. But yeah, it's Methuen and Company. It's a nice little book, 1962, first published 62. Shefford, it's a map, Shefford St. Michael. It's paper covered boards, but yeah, there's some interesting poetry in here, and it's all sort of geared towards Dorset and local, sort of localized poetry. I'm assuming from where the author's from. Keats's poetical works. This is something I picked up for free. It's a withdrawn copy from a library. It's part of the Oxford, I think it's part of the Oxford. Yeah, the Oxford a series of, and those are quite good. I wouldn't mind, actually. I would not say no to a complete set of those, but there's I think there's 3 different sizes. There's this size, the full size, then there's smaller, and then there's a medium, and I think there's a smaller one as well. This is edited by H.W. Gerald, published in 1973. It's a multiple printing one. But yeah, so it's an ex-library, so it's something that's sort of a placeholder until I get the correct one. And speaking of John Clare, this is a second copy of Shepherd's Calendar that I've got. It's a bit whiffy. It's still a bit musty smelling. I shouldn't actually have that on the shelf. I'm gonna keep that aside. But it's been sitting in the open for several years, and it just hasn't disappeared. Here's another ex-library one. Poems of Sextus Propertus. And it's a bilingual edition, translated, introduced by J.P. McCulloch, 1972. And it's pretty rough. And it's got the sort of tape or some kind of plastic over the cover. But again, it was almost nothing. Another John Clare, second volume of the of the Midsummer Cushion. It doesn't smell, but it's not as good as a copy as the other one I've got. But again, I picked it up really cheap, so I don't mind picking up duplicate of Clare. Here's an example of the Oxford Standard Authors. This is Bridges. This one's a bit rough. It's got foxing on it. It's poetical works with the Testament of Beauty, but excluding the 8 dramas. This is 1930. Originally. But it's 1971 printing. But yeah, this is the sort of sad. It looks the same as the Keats. This had a plastic covering on. You can see the staining on the jacket that I took it off. It was stuck on there. But again, it's like a set. I'd not say no to. I would definitely get the whole set, and I may eventually will, but it's not something that I'm looking out for at the moment. Haiku. This is British Museum. Picked this up in a charity shop for probably hardly anything. It's edited by David Cobb, British Museum Press. Nicely illustrated. All the way through. It's got haikus translated. I got a big oblong haiku book. It's just, I don't know where to put it, so I've stuck it somewhere else, and that'll be another one I'll show eventually. I'll just sort of round up at the end the miscellaneous poetry that's hasn't been caught in the shelf tours. That'll include the some folio society. I love this. I love that painting. As I say, it's a British Museum Press, and it was done in 2002. Here's another one that's I think it's just haiku. Yeah, it's haiku. The Moon in the Pines, Zen Haiku. Selected and translated by Jonathan Clements. It's illustrated with Japanese prints and paintings from the Art Institute of Chicago. Francis Lincoln Publishers, 2000. And again, just nicely illustrated throughout. This is a more recent one I picked up. It's got, damage to the jacket there. I need to get some of these dust jacket protectors to protect what is left of some of the jackets. So that was £1, so that was a no-brainer. It's Bernard Guttridge, The Traveller's Eye, Poems, Routledge, 1947. I haven't had much. I dipped in a little bit, but it sort of seems to be sort of locational stuff, and sort of where he's traveled. So it's kind of nice. Here's a nice looking one. Jacket, a bit sun faded on the spine, or at least fading. Country Verses. Edited by Samuel Carr, Chancellor Press. Nice etching. And it's got spring, summer, autumn, winter. So it's just a variety of different poets. Oh no, it's not. It's actually it's Guttridge's poem, but nicely illustrated. Colored and black and white. So that's quite nice. Just make room for piling up others. And here's the poems. Christopher Marlowe, edited by Miller McClure, Smith-Hewan, with the jacket. It's got some foxing on the front page, as it's Revels edition of the works of Christopher Marlowe already published, so it's a series. The Revels plays, first edition published in 1968, but this is the poetry, and yeah, it's got good printing, and it's got some very good footnotes, so it's very helpful. The Odes of Horace, translated into English first by Edward Marsh. Got some other books by Marsh, I believe. It's Macmillan and Company, limited in 1947. It's translated in English by Edward Marsh. 1947 originally, 1941. There's no Latin. It's just English translation, and I do like the Odes of Horace every once in a while. Here's I've got quite a few Rudyard Kipling items. Books. The Five Nations by Rudyard Kipling, 1903. It's got a nice book plate in there by somebody who's a little village outside of here. I'm not sure who this is. SRB Hoofy, Ampthill, Bedfordshire. I've not looked into it. And it's the first edition of this, and it's not bad shape. There's sunning on it, but it's okay. Here's the next library, Poetry Works of Robert Buchanan. Again, this was somebody I never heard of when I got it. It's hard going, his stuff. Very religious orientated. 1884 with portrait of the author. There we go. There's the author. It's hard going as well, just reading, because it's double columned. But yeah, but again, it's interesting. And I don't know, I've just never seen any other books by him, at least in shops. Collected Poems of Geoffrey Grigson. Again, there's no rhyme or reason to these. Like, that's 1884, I think it was. And this is going to be 60s, 1963. Poetry, 1924 to 62. Phoenix House, London. 1963. It's a bit whiffy. Might be another one to set aside. Here's to Robert Louis Stevenson, original volumes. I like these Chatto and Windus. I've got a whole bunch I've got a complete set of Robert Louis Stevenson, edited by Andrew Lang. But I also have, there's a set, I don't know if it was ever done as a set, but Chatto and Windus put out almost everything in this kind of binding. And I've got a number of his, most of his essays that way. This is Underwood's, 1894, Chatto and Windus. It's just nice printing on it, easy reading, and it's got a couple, one inscription from 1907, November 18th, and this is ballads. But yeah, these two are in the other, like, I've got a couple other collections that they're in, but again, these are individual volumes, so I picked them up. This is 1890. Again, similar printing. Not too keen on the wide spacing of lines, though, but that was okay. I kind of like this. This is a very nice edition. It's The Trumpeter, A Romance of the Rhine by Joseph Victor von Scheffel. Translated from the 200th German edition by Jesse Beck and Louise Larmer, with an introduction by Sir Theodore Martin. William Blackwood and Sons, Edinburgh and London. Let's see here. It's 1893. 1893. It's got quite an involved bookplate, and I did look that up. I think this is the one. Yeah, the armorial shield is of someone I believe, I can't really see the name now, William A. McFarland Green, I think it is, Esquire. If this is the one I'm thinking of, he was a professor at Oxford as well, and then Edinburgh, I believe. But this is somebody was asking, I can't remember who it was, asked me about if I'm interested in family trees and armorial armor sort of stuff. The armorial, I can't think of the name now. But anyway, yeah, it's just the shield and stuff like that, and that's where it does come in, the interest for that. So, sorry, I'm a bit tired, and I think my mind is wandering. The Lyceum Book of Verse, edited by Molly Stanley Retch. London Methuen and Company. It's got a nice jacket on it still. Published 1931. It's just a selection of different authors, and a lot that I'd never heard of, so that's why it was kind of nice to go through. I'll just sort of name a few off here. Florence Asco, Merida Batten, Caroline Russell Bisham, Sybil Bristow, Laura Collard, Emily Dawson, Nina DeSeven, Ethel Winifred Gunn. Yeah, just never heard of these, so it's issued in a handy format. This little book of verse will be ideal for slipping into the trunk or breast pocket. So it's an introduction by Sybil Bristow as well. This was, a charity shop one. It's just American Poetry. It's just a collection, an anthology of American Poetry, Lyric America, 1630 to 1941, edited by Alfred Kenneborg, Tudor Publishing, New York. Again, it's just an overview, 1941 printing, originally 1930. It's just a selection of poetry. A lot of authors I don't know either, so that was quite nice. Words Without Songs, Thomas B. Pitfield, introduction by Walter Delamere. So again, it's a little sort of cardstock, and the paper jacket is connected at the spine. It's not price clipped. It's first printing from 1951, and it's just some nice little poetry, short poetry mostly. It's very short. It's 30 pages long, and here's 2 volumes of the same. It's Death of Ione and Akbar's Dream and Other Poems by Alfred Lord Tennyson, 1892, Macmillan and Company. Somebody's banging their door, if you heard that. It's actually shook everything. This is just another copy of it. And the nicest one, Leaves of Grass by Walt Whitman. It's a nice one. Previous owner's name in it, from 1904. It's 1899, Boston, Small Maynard and Company. Leaves of Grass, including Sands at 70, Goodbye, My Fancy, Old Age Echoes, and A Backward Glance O'er Traveled Roads by Walt Whitman. 1899, and frontispiece and whatnot. It's a bit split there, but it's not too bad. Printing's not too bad. It's a bit small, but yeah, that's a really nice one. So that ends shelf 6. Is it right? 6? Yeah. Did I say 5 at the beginning? It says shelf 6. It should be. Yeah, shelf 6. Shelf 6. So I'll end it there today, and we'll finish up the other 3 definitely tomorrow. Thank you, BookTube.